Can I have a motion to open the meeting?
Motion to open the meeting.
Peter and Chief was, Jim was second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay. I apologize for the delay. One of the tools that we built and used over the last couple of years is a spreadsheet that shows all the articles down the y-axis and the cost centers across the top of the page. And we've tried to sort the articles out by source of funding. So for example, if the water department needed a truck, then we'd slide it to borrowing for the water department, because there's a direct source of funding for the water department. If the CPA wants to spend some money on things, then there's a header for CPA and all the funds that because they've got their own source of funding. There's a column for cash articles, there's a column for general borrowing, and others. There's one for rescinded articles. There's one for reserves from the enterprise accounts, if there's money in those. So we look at really what all of our available sources of funding are and try to make decisions to place those articles there and make that stipulation in the motion that that's where we would like to see it come from. So Sue Herman is being wonderful again, printing those things off for me. They're just big spreadsheets, and so that's just taking a minute. But I think we can step through some of the procedural articles up front, and then when those copies are made, we'll just distribute them, walk through the sheets so you know what they are and how they work, and then we can keep going from there. Does that make sense? Okay. I am at Article 3, rescind ambulance department enterprise fund. To see if the town will vote to revoke the permissions of the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, 53F and a half, with regard to the ambulance department, and to cease operating the ambulance department as an enterprise fund effective year 2015. Can I have a recommendation on this?
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Discussions were at the public hearings. So this is just for voting tonight. Hands up? It's unanimous? Okay, thanks. Upgrade to central dispatching at the police station, Article 4, ID 4. To see if the town will raise to vote and appropriate transfer from available funds in the Treasury, if any, and or borrow sufficient sum to pay for the design, construction, equipping, and upgrading of this to a central police/fire EMS communication center. Estimated cost $235,020. Chief, Pat, and Chief, Dave. All those in favor? Although, well, it's unanimous. Joe, you yay? Okay, good. On this one, yeah, that's what we were going to do. You're right. So thank you for that. I think that I said that this was from general borrowing.
Okay.
So do we need to re-vote on that?
I'll amend my motion to approve from general borrowing.
Okay, thanks, Pat. Dave still seconding? Okay, all those in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, all those opposed and abstaining, it's unanimous. Article 5, supplemental fiscal year 2014 departmental budgets. I think this is a motion to refer, unless there's, Bill, do you have anything to add for this here, or? Nothing yet. Okay. Okay, thanks.
Motion to refer.
Scott, great. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? It's unanimous. Article 6, to see if the town will vote to raise an appropriate transfer from available funds in the Treasury, if any, and or borrow a sufficient sum of money to fund the Cedar Hill Golf Course for fiscal 2015 and take any other action relative thereto.
Motion to approve.
Pat. Second is Jim. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? 2. So I need the ayes, hand count for the ayes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nays? 2.
3.
3. Who's 3?
Right here.
Oh, Pat.
No,
Barb.
look at me.
What was that count?
9-3.
9-3.
Joe, Ed, did you vote on that? Yay, okay, actually it's 10-3. It's 13. I didn't count Joe. Ed. Article 7, Public Health Association Enterprise Fund Budget, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds in the Treasury, if any, and/or borrow a sufficient sum of money to fund the Stoughton Public Health Association for fiscal 2015, or take any other action relative thereto.
Motion to pass.
Peter? Second is David. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Article 8, Sewer Enterprise Fund Budget, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds in the Treasury, if any, and/or borrow a sufficient sum of money to fund the sewer department for fiscal 2015, or take any other action relative thereto. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Pat? Second is Scott. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Approved, unanimous. Water Enterprise Fund Budget, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds in the Treasury, if any, and/or and/or borrow a sufficient sum of money to fund the Water Department for fiscal 2015, or take any other action relative thereto.
Motion to approve.
Peter? Second is David. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Dead.
It's unanimous. Article 10, revolving funds, as printed in the warrant.
Motion to approve?
Second. Oh.
Peter, second. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how we'd break it up. Yeah, I thought the research that Jim did was pretty sufficient. I thought we answered all the questions on it, so. Okay.
I'm gonna, wait a minute.
Peter?
I'm gonna pull my motion back. I made a motion here, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull it back. Because I'm not happy with a lot of stuff in this thing here.
What is
See,
it?
it says, well, anyway, it says revolving
Did
fund.
we not discuss this for like a half an hour? What is, I don't understand what the question is, still out there.
Which one are we on? Oh, enterprise.
We're
oh,
on Article 10.
Article 10, yeah. All right, there's a lot of things in here, like a dumpster.
I'll do a motion to approve then.
Huh?
Thank you.
Can't talk about these articles? I don't think that's right. There's too much involved here.
Well, we had a public hearing on these.
I know, but, okay,
Oh.
all right.
All right, we'll allow discussion on this one. Go ahead. You're up.
Well, one thing, I'm not crazy about, somebody has to pay a fee to have a dumpster in their yard. If they're gonna do a little yard work or remodeling, that's one of the things. What's the other one? Purchase of reference materials, equipment. Well, right now, that's my main thing. I'm not too crazy about a dumpster fee.
Okay, anybody else?
How much is it gonna be?
I just think it's too involved.
That's right.
To be one article, that's my problem.
It's too involved. What do you mean, Steve?
Well, I just, when it gets to town meeting, we're gonna spend 2 hours on this thing because it's all rambling instead of maybe separate articles or parts of articles or whatever. I just think it's confusing, that's all.
Scott?
Just to help Peter out, I was led to believe that the dumpster regulations had to do with the restaurants, not the dumpsters at a private residence. Right. Like, if, say we're gonna get another Applebee's, they have a regulation that it's gotta be fenced and maintained, cleaned, so the area's gotta be picked up, it's gotta be gated, locked. I don't think it means if you get a dumpster in your yard, Peter, to throw wood in, because if you read it, it's the way it reads, you can see implementation of dumpster regulations, materials and equipment to be used in food establishments. If you read it along, that's what I was led to believe. I mean, I could be wrong. Because there's
Oh,
been
wait a
so
minute.
many complaints, there was so many complaints about how dumpsters were at establishments that this is why things, I think, are passed. Am I right, Rick? Am I wrong?
I believe you are.
Rick? I think he's right, because it's under the Board of Health. So that
That's
would
right.
be like a restaurant or an apartment
Well,
building.
there, right, and if you own a business, you can't just drop a dumpster in your front yard, your front door. There are regulations, they gotta be enclosed, and they gotta be
Well-
sanitary, and they gotta be, so, but now you need somebody to go inspect them. So, it's the Board of Health, but that's why their amount went up to 150, so that they could take that revenue in, because they're gonna be probably expending it, yeah.
I'd still like to see something specifying that it doesn't include residential areas. So where they get the swimming pools in here for? That's just for food establishments, swimming pools, recreation, day camps, and housing. Then it's too late. It is. They can modify that someplace on a town meeting floor then.
All right, I just need to guard against we had a public hearing on this. If you want to start changing this now, it's too late because it's time for the vote, so,
Well, I made them, I brought that up at the public hearing, too.
okay. But you didn't offer any alternative at the time. All right, we had a motion and a second. Who was that? John? John and John? Okay. Okay, all those in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, it's 10, and those not in favor? 1, 2. Those abstaining? So it's 10, 2, and 1. If you want to work on, see, you can always lessen an article. You can't expand the scope of it. And I'm not sure how, by putting in restrictions about houses, that's reducing the scope. So that's a problem. If you wanted to work on language before town meeting to help clarify this a little bit more, I'd suggest you get with the town manager and Board of Health to think about that. Okay, moving on, Article 11, the budget, we've already voted and approved that. Article 12, employees not in collective bargaining. Now, we covered this the other night.
Yep.
Did we vote it? We didn't vote it.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Who, John, did you? John and John again.
John and John, boy, they're fighting over there.
The Johns.
John. The Johns.
Okay, Pat?
I was leaning more towards referring this only because we don't have the contract. And I know I personally have never approved funding for a contract I've never read. So if it stays it is, I would vote no just because I don't have the contract. I would prefer to refer it, but.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, show of hands, please. 5. Those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5 and 7. Those abstaining? 1. 5, 7, and 1. The motion fails.
Peter's not here to do
So those approved, can you put your hands up so that we can record this? There was more than that. There was somebody else. We're missing one. This was the last one on Article 12. Right, we just need to record the names for the roll call vote.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Scott, John, Mally,
Identifying you,
Scott, and
you
Bob.
folks,
That's what we had before.
you
5.
guys, I mean.
That's right. 5 before, and you got 5 again.
Okay, those opposed? So Jim, David, Steve, Peter, Pat, Barb, Bob. Got it? And one abstention, and that was Bob.
Is Pat gonna make another motion?
I haven't heard one.
Go ahead.
Did you want to make a substitute motion?
Motion to refer
Second.
to town meeting, pending receipt of the contract.
So we got a motion and a second.
Second.
Second, that's fine.
All those in favor, show of hands, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Peter, was that yes or what?
Yeah.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those opposed? Scott and John. Abstaining? Okay, 11-2. Collective bargaining town hall employees. Yes, sir. Okay. Is there a motion for this?
Motion to refer to town meeting.
Second.
David, second. All those in favor? Show of hands. It's unanimous. Article 14, collective bargaining. One abstaining. Actually, are you abstaining or? Thank you, Sue. 12, I'll put 12, 1, okay. That one's refer. Article 14, collective bargaining, patrolmen's association, police patrolmen's association.
Motion to refer.
And David is seconding. All those in favor, show of hands, please. It's unanimous. Up? Yeah. Article 15, collective bargaining, local 1512 firefighters.
Motion to refer.
Second.
Peter seconding. All those in favor? David?
I have to abstain.
Abstaining? Okay, so we have 12 and 1, 12, 0 and 1. I should just say, all those opposed? Okay, just to make sure. Article 16, collective bargaining, public works.
Motion to refer.
Second.
Who was seconding? David? Okay. All those in favor of referring to town meeting? It's unanimous. 17. Were we assigned 17?
Yeah, we heard it, yes.
We did hear it.
Ton of notes.
Okay. Article 17, the remove Department of Public Works from the civil service.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Pat's motion to approve, and Ed, did you second? Okay. All those in favor? It's unanimous.
I'm opposed,
Oh, sorry.
One
Steve
no
is
for
opposed.
Steve.
16 to
So that was Article 17. Let's take this time to pass this out. That's not- Steve, Pete, can you take one? Pass it on.
Rick, should I make the motion out of here? The school's next.
Yeah, good idea.
17.
Pretty. This is pretty big. This is the visually challenged version of this book. Has everybody got a copy in front of them?
Pass it on, boss. No, down the end. Music.
So what you have here is all the articles listed down the left-hand margin, And across the top, as I said, we're funding sources. So general borrowing is a funding source. That's the levy. Cash is a funding source. The water enterprise account has a source of revenue. The sewer is the same thing. Enterprise ambulance, which is no longer. Cedar Hills has its own source of funding. Cash for retained earnings for sewer, public health, which really would go into those enterprise accounts. The unexpended articles is a source of funding. The Community Preservation Fund, grants. I look at the MSRB as a source of funding. So when I put this out, I'm really trying to figure out how much we're really going to borrow. So we borrow generally to pay those bills, but we're reimbursed so quickly from the MSRB that I'm not even sure it floats out there for 60 days if we do it at all. So anyways, I went through here, and it's kind of an easy enough exercise if you just read the article, but we are now down to article, so we just did 17. And I think we're going to skip ahead. Pat, go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we hear the school articles next because the school committee's here, Articles 52, 53, 54, 55, and 56.
Do I have a second?
Can I just, before we,
Go ahead, Bruce.
the Article 12,
Yeah.
we didn't approve it.
Didn't we refer it?
Yeah, but in the column, it's status
Oh,
column.
I see, yeah. You shouldn't have said, yeah, I understand.
And then in the budget, it says 410, 14, it was last.
I wouldn't pay any attention to the status column. How's that?
Okay.
Okay. This is really just a tool, articles, funding. I need to refine it once we're done with voting tonight. Pat, you want to go ahead and read those?
Oh, sorry, let me just skip ahead.
On which one? Who seconded the motion on the school articles to defer to those? John? Okay. And did we vote? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? All right.
Article 52, ID 52, replace the windows and doors of the Hanson School as printed, but I believe that dollar amount has now changed to $450,000. Is that correct?
And these are on the very last page, and they're listed under general borrowing. And I think I put 46% of the cost in general borrowing and 54% of the cost in MSRB reimbursement. It's just a crossfoot.
New number is $450,000.
On which one, Pat? On
Article 52, the Hanson windows and doors. I'm just double checking my list.
That's where it will be. Okay. A motion and the second. Who was the second? John. Okay. All those in favor, can I have a show of hands? Originally it was 400. Originally it was 400, and she's amending it to 450.
We received an email from Joyce Husseini with some updated dollar amounts, and that's where I got the $450,000 from. I don't know. I'm sorry?
Thank you.
Ask her if this is it. Can you ask her that? This is the number.
Thank you. When we came to talk about the articles, we had picked a number based on what the architect had given us for a schematic design cost. Since that time in between, we went back to the MSBA for a vote, and they had actually amended it to include a cost overrun, if you will, on soft cost or design cost. And so one of them went up a handful and change, one went up $20,000 in terms of what they predicted. We have to commit to borrowing for the full amount, although again, as I've said before, we fully expect it'll be less. But those numbers didn't come back to us until after the vote on March 26th.
Okay.
Okay?
This is
Okay.
it, though.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, show of hands. Okay, it's unanimous. Article 53, Pat?
A motion to approve Article 53, replacement roof for Gibbons School as printed in the warrant for an estimated cost of $2,590,000.
Is there a second? John?
What was the motion?
The motion was to approve as printed
Okay.
in general borrowing. And John seconded.
Just a question. Now, I read an article in the paper yesterday. There was 3 schools that were approved. Was there more schools approved besides the west of Dar and the Hanson?
3 schools are approved for what?
For funding from the Massachusetts School Building Authority.
So there's windows and doors, there's roofs.
The Hanson, the Dar, and the west were the ones that were approved. The Gibbons was not approved, according to the article I read Sunday. So I'm
Thank you,
just wondering
Joyce.
which ones, if the other ones had been approved at this other time or something.
Both of the articles for the Gibbons are actually, the statements of interest are into the MSBA for this year's round of approval. So those aren't projects that are currently accepted by the MSBA, and everything we do would be contingent upon it being accepted into the MSBA Accelerated Repair Program, as we had with the West Hanson and Daw the years before.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. Show of hands. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed, abstaining? Bruce?
I'm confused by your spreadsheet. Are we borrowing the whole 2.5 mil?
We are. We have to borrow it, but we're going to get 50% of it, or 56%, or 54%.
So under general
54.
borrowing, it should say the 2.5, or
I think
no?
so, too.
Well, I cross-fitted it all the way across to show 2.5.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but under general as we are committing to this borrowing,
We have to borrow it, and we'll be immediately reimbursed.
so
The motion was for borrowing, 2.5
correct,
million
so
dollars.
so that 2.5 should be shown under general borrowing.
I understand what he's saying. Yeah. So, at the end of the day, when you add this all up and what the town's commitment to a 10-year borrowing is going to be, you're going to need to factor in the reimbursement from the MSBA. And that's why I've listed it as that. So the article is to be funded fully by borrowing, and then there's a 54% reimbursement from the MSBA for this.
Well, I understand what you're saying,
All right, well, the motion includes it's for borrowing, so
that's fine.
that's all you need,
Just for
that's all we
clean-
needed.
Maybe after we can, for clarity's sake, how it could be shown better. Because it is you are committing to the borrowing of it, so there is that cost of the borrowing.
Well, maybe
I don't
we're
want to
not.
belabor this point. I don't think the point needs to be belabored here.
Yeah, but maybe we're not borrowing the money because we might have enough to not borrow, is the whole point. Enough money from previous borrowings or from the general fund. I don't know. I'm just saying that we're going to borrow it. If we have to borrow it, it'll be for a very short period of time, and then we'll be reimbursed very quickly.
I understand. I don't think.
Bill?
Yeah, as I understand it, I haven't been through it yet, but as I understand it, the MSBA is a system now whereby they will reimburse you monthly when you submit paid invoices.
Yep.
So if it's a 50% reimbursement, you still have to authorize the full 2.6 million, but
Which we
they
did.
will reimburse you as you go. So you might, yeah. Right, yeah.
From a clarity standpoint for town meeting,
Well, I don't know that I was going to pass out 5 pages of spreadsheets to town meeting. This is for us. No. No. I do a debt presentation, but this wasn't part of it.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Under borrowing, maybe the committee would understand that if we have any unexpended old borrowing articles, we could use that as well. So in other words, new borrowing or old borrowings.
Oh, so we should add that into the motions?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think you need to add it to every motion, but as long as the understanding's there, I think
Actually-
that's fine.
I think we did it this way last year. We entertained a motion from the committee to use unexpended articles
If available. Mhm.
in payment of our articles that require cash or borrowing as a standard part of the language in every motion, so that if there were unexpended articles that were applicable, because they do have to be applicable,
Right.
that then we could go ahead and use those without having to say that language in every motion. So can I have a motion to include that language for each motion going forward? So moved. A second?
Second.
Pat? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous, okay. All right, but just to be clear, for Bruce's point, our motions will be to borrow the full amount. And this spreadsheet is really just to help us understand how much we're really in debt for and how much the other sources of revenue would be picking up for this tab. Ed?
Well, we have to authorize the full 2.6 million, but if it's a 50% reimbursement, we would only borrow 1.3. We'd get the money from the state right away as soon as we submit the invoices. So, we would only actually have to issue a bond for 1.3. Yep.
Okay, Article 53.
That was 53.
Oh, replace roof for Gibbons? No, I thought that was 52.
We did 52, and we just did 53.
Yep, okay.
Thought we did. Well, I made the motion. Did we?
Go ahead. 54.
Article 54, replacement windows for the Gibbons School as printed for an
Wait a minute.
adjusted.
Do we need to say windows and doors in our motion?
The question came up, yes.
We asked our representative from the MSBA, and she says you could. It would be okay. It hadn't been done in the articles before that, but we're willing to amend it on the floor if that's the will.
Okay, so Pat, in the motion,
Motion.
if you're mind to?
Yeah, motion to approve Article 54, replacement of windows and doors for the Gibbons School as printed for an adjusted amount of $600,000.
Second.
Okay, and it's a borrowing article?
General borrowing.
Okay, and John seconded, okay. All those in favor, show of hands. It's unanimous. Oh. All those opposed?
Yeah, wait a minute, that's right.
Again, the email from Joyce. Yeah, I have it here. Article 54, the West. Oh, I'm sorry, wait.
54.
I'm sorry. That was the wrong dollar amount. I apologize. Article 54.
It's Gibbons.
Gibbons. So that was the 1,330,000, the original amount, 1,330,000.
So the 6 was wrong. Is the 600,000 is wrong?
Yes.
The amount is printed is correct.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Thank you,
We're going
Bruce.
to revote that.
Thank you, Bruce. I wrote that in the wrong one.
Good
Can
thing
you make your
wasn't.
motion again, Pat?
Yes. Article 54, replacement of windows and doors for the Gibbons School as printed for the amount of $1,330,000.
Second.
John was second. All those in favor?
General borrowing.
General borrowing. It's unanimous. Thank you, Bruce. Article 55.
Article 55, replacement windows and doors for the Dawes School as printed in the warrant, let's see if I get this one right, for the adjusted amount of $450,000 from general borrowing.
Second.
John, second.
Yes.
Got a question, Joe?
55.
Right. Okay.
This is the same as the other one. It's got the full amount.
Say that again?
says 753,000 on the article, it says the same amount here in the spreadsheet.
I didn't adjust the spreadsheet.
So where's the 400 come from?
450,000 is from the email that was distributed to the committee.
450,000.
All set? Okay. Okay, all those in favor, show of hands.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous.
And let's see, the last one, Article 56, replacement roof for the West School, as printed in the warrant for the just an amount of $600,000.
Second was John Malley.
General borrowing, excuse me. General borrowing.
General borrowing. Okay, all those in favor? It's unanimous. Okay. Let's go back to, was it 12 or 13 or 17? 18? 19? We're almost done. Article 18, establish OPEB liability trust fund. So this is just for the establishment of the trust fund. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
John? Scotty, second. All those in favor? Hands? It's unanimous. Article 19, funding of OPEB. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate transfer from available funds in the Treasury, if any, and/or borrow a sum of money to fund other post-employment benefits known as OPEB liability trust fund established in accordance with Chapter 32B, Section 20 of the Massachusetts General Laws, or take any other action relative thereto. Estimated cost $10,000, and that $10,000 was to fund is from cash.
Motion to approve.
Peter, cash. Scotty, second. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? It's approved unanimously. Article 20, capital outlay purchase. To see if the town will vote to amend Chapter 47, Section 4 of the town bylaws as printed in the warrant, except that paragraph A is amended to read as follows. All departments' capital outlay purchases in excess of $10,000 or the threshold for soliciting quotes or responses or for bidding as mandated by the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapters 30, Section 39M, Public Works, Chapter 30B, Uniform Procurement Act for Goods and Services, and Chapter 149, Building Construction Projects, must be approved by a vote of town meeting before such purchases can be authorized. Capital outlay is defined as those items for which borrowing would be authorized under Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Sections 7 and 8.
Motion to approve.
John? Second. Who's that? Dave? Second. Okay. All those in favor, show of hands. Okay. All those opposed? John, Steve, Barbara. Okay. Any abstaining? Okay. So it is approved. It looks like it's 10-3. Article 21, purchase orders. To see if the town will vote to amend Chapter 47, Section 6 of the town bylaws as printed in the warrant, except that paragraph A is amended to read as follows. No purchase or contract to purchase supplies or services in excess of $10,000 or the threshold for soliciting quotes or responses or for bidding as mandated by Massachusetts General Laws, Chapters 30, Section 39M, Public Works, Chapters 30B, Uniform Procurement Act for Goods and Services, and Chapter 149, Building Construction Projects, by any municipal department other than the school department shall be valid, and the town shall make no payment for such purchases unless a written purchase order has been issued in advance of such purchase to the vendor or contractor. Such purchase order shall be certified by the town manager or his/her designee as to compliance with the state and local procurement statutes and regulations, and certified by the town accountant and his/her designee as to the availability of funds.
Motion to approve.
John? Second?
Second.
Second? Jim? All those in favor, show of hands. Okay, those opposed? It's 10-3, it's approved. Article 22, to implement the use of electronic healthcare records and public health certified home care agency, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds in the treasury, if any, and/or borrow sufficient sum of money to purchase the laptops and the associated costs of electronic healthcare record implementation in the public health office, or to take any other action relative thereto. The estimated cost is $200,000. I believe this was a borrowing. No, actually, it was cash from retained earnings from the Public Health Department was the source of funding.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, that's where I'd put it here. So on the second page, Scott, you see right at the top, the 200,000, it's under cash, retained earnings, public health column. Okay. All right, so the motion was, who made the motion?
Motion to approve. Motion to approve, yes.
John and Scott, okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? It's approved unanimously. Article 23, Armory Feasibility Study, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate from available funds in the treasury, if any, and/or borrow a sufficient sum of money to pay for feasibility study and schematic plans to use the armory for municipal office or departmental space, or to take any other action relative thereto. The estimated cost is $60,000, and I had listed that as cash. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Peter? Bob, second. All those in favor, show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. Opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Abstaining? Okay, the motion carries 9-4. Article 24, Architectural Services, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate from available funds in the treasury, if any, or borrow a sufficient sum of money to procure the services of an architectural engineering firm to provide on-call services to be shared equally between the school department and the town department to address new and previously identified facilities and capital projects, or to take any other action relative thereto. And that was for $50,000, and I had that listed as cash.
Motion to approve.
John O'Malley. Second, David. All those in favor, show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And opposed? 1, 2, 3. And there can't be any abstaining. So it's approved, 10-3. Article 25, Townhouse Capital, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate from available funds in the treasury, if any, or borrow a sufficient sum of money to replace the HVAC, includes boilers, compressors, chiller, and controls, in the town hall, as recommended in the facilities master plan dated May 2010. The amount is $265,000, and actually I had 275, that got downgraded 10 grand, so it's 265,000. I had it under general borrowing. Is there a motion? John. Scott, second. Okay. All those in favor, show of hands. It's unanimous. Article 26, Sewer Priority Plan, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds in the treasury, if any, and/or borrow sufficient sum of money to cover the cost of preparing a sewer priority plan, or take any other action relative thereto. And this was a cost of $50,000, and I had it listed as cash.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Scott and Peter. All those in favor, show of hands. I got 12. All those opposed? 1. It's approved. Excuse me, it's recommended. Article 27, General Capital. I was going to go through and get a hand vote on each individual item. Does that work for everybody?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cedar Hill, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate from available funds in the Treasury, if any, or borrow a sufficient sum of money, replace in or purchase the following items for department: Cedar Hill Greens Aerator, and that I had in here under Cedar Hills Enterprise borrowing, $25,000. Your motion? John? Second? Bob? All those in favor, show of hands. Okay, opposed? 11 and 2. It's approved. Sod cutter, $5,000, and I had that as Cedar Hills Enterprise borrowing.
Motion to approve.
John? Second? Joe? All those in favor, raise your hands. Okay, all those opposed? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it was 10 and 3. Engineering survey inspection vehicle, $28,000. And I had that as general borrowing. Is there a motion to approve or recommend? Scott?
Second.
Peter, second. All those in favor, show of hands. Okay. Opposed? 12 and 1. It passes. This was so the engineer wasn't thumbing down the road hitchhiking anymore, so we could keep him safe. All right. Total station survey instrument, $8,500, and I had that as borrowing as well.
Motion to pass.
Peter, second.
Second.
Steve? All those in favor, show of hands. All those opposed? Abstaining? It's unanimous. Town Square Traffic Implementation Plan, $100,000, and I had that as cash. So, I don't know if you see the trend here. So anything that's a study or a plan, et cetera, we're listed as cash, pretty much, instead of borrowing for a plan or a study. Okay? John, second? Bob? Okay. All those in favor, show of hands. Yes? I think this is the Town Square Traffic Implementation Plan, and it has to do with the downtown South Coast Rail. Mr. Town Manager, did you want to qualify that at all, or? Okay.
What, it's got to do with the rail?
Yeah. Ed?
Yeah, will this be part of the mitigation when you ask for it later, or is this, we just winging this one?
No, it wouldn't be part of the mitigation. It's to develop a vision for what the Board of Selectmen can then present as this is what we want for downtown. That way there you can direct the rail where you want it to go based upon this plan.
Yeah, without which they'll just kind of do what they want to do and,
Is there a motion?
and railroad us.
Motion to approve.
Peter's motion approved. There's a second. Scott? Okay, show of hands. All those in favor? Okay, opposed? So it's 10 and 2. 11 and 2. Fire rescue, replace ambulance 1. Number 1, $250,000. I had this in general borrowing. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Well, you guys are generous. It was David and Steve. Oh, Jim. 250,000 general borrowing. All those in favor, show of hands. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to vote against. So that's a tie. The motion fails. Is there a substitute motion? For town meeting?
No. No, we should send it away. We just voted.
Is there a second to refer? Joe? So there's a motion to refer this to town meeting. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a tie. The motion fails. Moving on. Townwide fire alarms upgrades, $40,000. That's from general borrowing.
Motion to approve?
And David seconded, Pat and David. All those in favor, show of hands. Okay, all those opposed? 12 and 1, it's approved. Parking expansion station 2, fire station 2, $15,000. I had that as listed as general borrowing. Is there a motion? John Malley?
Second.
Chief? Okay. All those in favor, show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll vote 7 no. Motion fails. Radio upgrade, $45,000, and I had that from general borrowing. Is there a motion to approve? John, second. Scotty? All those in favor? Now, before I do this, is this part of the combining of the dispatchers? Is this related to that in any way?
Yes and no. Yes and no, because they're gonna share that microwave, so it kinda is.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, show of hands. It's unanimous. Joanne, you didn't vote? Let me see, integrated financial software.
That's the budget buster.
Wait a minute, is an adjusted number here, Michael? 750,000.
For the software?
For everything. It was 900?
So if we defer, it'll go down more?
You know what, Bruce? No, it's good. It's a good question. I asked it. If we hold out.
900,000 was an estimate. We now know the actual numbers. And it's a purchase of 21 different modules situated over 5 different, what they call suites.
And it includes the consultant for
It
implementation.
includes a consultant to develop a uniform chart of accounts between both ends of Pearl Street. No, they will come here and do that. Back and
Vegas.
forth between both.
This is gonna be the last time for the next 50 years or what?
Last time till next
In
year.
a rented car.
Because they changed it, they upgrade that stuff so fast.
And part of the reason, if I'm not mistaken, for the discount is because we already have one of their products here in the schools. Budget Sense is one of their products, so that,
That's what I think we're at for borrowing.
So, for example, when the school department does its payroll, it will enter directly into the general ledger as opposed to now having.
okay, so who's the motion?
Motion to approve.
John, and the second was Scott. Okay, and that's for the adjusted amount of 750, and that's a borrowing article. Spreadsheet showed 770. Okay, all those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous. Public Works, 52-inch lawn mower, $9,200, and that was from cash. Is there a motion?
52.
John, motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
John? All those in favor, show of hands. 7. All those opposed? 5. Motion carries 7-5. Did you get all the names? 7 and 5 is 12.
He
Yep,
did say
so we
that,
had to
didn't
vote. Just so we can get the names, all those in favor of, can we get the hands raised again? So,
I changed my mind.
that's not fair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now it's 5. It was 7, come on.
They get an
Come
extra,
on.
hey,
Motion to approve. So, is that it? It's just the 5?
did they go out and get an actual figure on this, like they did the other article?
There was a public hearing on this. All those opposed?
Doesn't want the more?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Doesn't want the more.
I'm confused.
All right, wait a minute.
We're getting less votes than we did
Oh, wait a
before.
minute.
I'm
I
going to do
was-
this one last
I was-
time.
I was involved in the conversation. This is not to get the more, that last vote.
I'll change my mind again.
This is a motion to purchase the mower, and a second. That's what we're voting on, to purchase it.
I didn't vote for it the first time.
All those in favor, raise your hand. 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. We're all in agreement? Okay. All those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The motion fails 6-7.
Rick,
Yep.
before we go on, do we have, I feel like there's a priority list that I'm missing. Do we have a priority list for this department?
Yeah.
Could you
Yep. That was.
share it?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to ask me.
You know, I've got a lot in my mind.
The only thing he wanted was the GMC 3/4 ton cabin chassis.
correct.
Right.
Which is the two things.
The roof rehab
The roof rehab
and the street lighting.
and streetlights. Just 3 things.
That's
Right.
correct, yep.
Yep.
Everything else, he said, we'll wait till next year.
All right.
Thank you for sharing.
Not a problem.
It just so happens that the GMC 3/4 ton cab and chassis pickup truck for $40,000, which I had as a borrowing article, happens to be the next up. It's one of his priorities. Have a motion? Bob?
Second.
Second is Scotty. All those in favor, show of hands. It's unanimous. International dump truck, not one of his priorities, $120,000, and that would have been borrowing. All those in favor? No, excuse me, motion? Bob, a second? Just for sport. Scotty, second. All those in favor, show of hands, please. 1, 2. All those opposed? Okay, it's 2-10 fails. I'm sorry, it was 11-2, my mistake. Okay, roof rehab, mechanics building, $150,000. This was one of his priorities,
Motion to approve.
Second.
and that would be from borrowing. And the chief's motion and
Second.
Peter's
Whatever.
Peter seconded it. Okay, all those in favor, show of hands. Aye. Okay, it's unanimous. Street lighting, also one of his priorities. $100,000 it would be from borrowing.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
David second. Peter and David. All those in favor, show of hands. It's unanimous. Rubbish packer, $240,000.
Not one of his.
Second.
Unit 21, not a priority.
A priority.
Second.
So who's the motion?
Motion to disapprove.
We need positive motions.
Oh,
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Bob and Steve. So there's a motion to approve. All those in favor? All those opposed? Any abstentions? Joe, what was your vote? You a no? So, okay. Unanimous. 0, 13. That's a fail. Okay, external defibrillators, $35,000 in the police.
Motion to approve,
Second.
Peter?
general
Yeah.
borrowing.
$35,000, and that would have been, let me just see here. Was borrowing, right? All those in favor? Show of hands. All those opposed? Mr. Anzavino, are you voting? No, I was saying goodbye. It was unanimous. It was approved unanimous. Marked vehicles, 5 vehicles, 4 plus 1, cost of $241,270, and I had that as borrowing. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
John and Scott. All those in favor, show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Motion passes 8-5. Lighting, Halloran Park, $50,000.
That was a priority too.
Yep. So that is a priority for him. A motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
David and
Second.
Peter. Okay, all those in favor, show of hands. It's, all those opposed? 12-1. Recreation. Top dress, reseed field at West School, $10,000. Can I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Dave, Peter? Scotty, second. All those in favor?
Cash?
Yes, and this is cash. I'm sorry. All those in favor, show of hands. All those opposed? 12-1, passes. So, Article 28, water capital.
I have a priority for that too.
Yep, so do I.
Okay.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate from available funds in the treasury, if any, or borrow sufficient sum of money, replace and or purchase the following items for the water department. Now, David, the priorities, what did you show as priorities?
Upgrade meter reading,
So-
Pratt's Court treatment,
Yep,
Mack sander and plow,
right,
and a half a Tahoe.
okay. All right, so, water system improvements, $50,000, not one of his priorities. Can I have a motion?
Second.
Bob? Peter, second. All those in favor, show of hands. 1, 2, 3. All those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3, 10. Motion fails.
Gurney Well was his fourth priority. So it's not a top priority this year.
Right. So the Gurney Wells, it was the pump motor control, an emergency drive. It was $50,000. Can we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Peter?
Second.
Steve? Okay. All those in favor? Bob and Ed, okay. All those opposed? It's 11-1, fails. Excuse me, it's 1-11, fail.
211.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ed, that's right. 11-2,
2.
211. Get it right soon. Hmm?
We have 14 now.
Yep.
Roberta, did you vote on the last one
Yes, you did.
Yeah, she did.
to approve? It was on the Gurney well. Okay. I didn't count her vote because she's settling in.
I think she voted on the first one, too, water system.
So it's 212. 211 would be 13. There's 14 now. Okay, this is a priority, upgrade meter reading recording equipment for $56,000, and that was
Motion
Water
approved.
Enterprise
Second.
borrowing. Sorry,
Motion approved.
David
Second.
and Peter? All those in favor? All those opposed? It's unanimous. Pratt's Court Treatment Facility, $100,000.
Motion approved.
Second.
David, Peter? Yeah, we've been issued a notice on this, and that's one of his priorities. So motion and a second. All those in favor, say show of hands. It's unanimous. The Mack Sander the Mack Sander plow,
This was not a priority for us.
Yes.
actually it was,
Yes, it is.
right.
1, 2,
Yes, it's replacing. It's replacing an 84.
84
They're gonna
Mack.
either trade or auction.
30 years old and there's no
84
parts
Sander.
for it.
I had that as fifth.
All right, so we've got a motion and a
Agreed.
second. Who is the motion? David, and the second was?
Jim.
Jim, okay. All those in favor, and this was borrowing from the water enterprise account. Okay. All those in favor, show of hands. You two know? Okay. All those opposed? 4. So 10-4. 10-4.
Question of clarification here, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
The town budget subsidizes the water department. The water enterprise account does not pay for itself.
It doesn't this year. There's no subsidies in the budget.
The people in town meeting kind of look at these kind of things being paid out of the water enterprise accounts as free. I have a problem with this water enterprise account when there isn't any money coming into it.
But it's solvent, Jim. It's not, there's no subsidy for the water or sewer this year.
I understand, but we should be letting people know that this is really coming out of the general budget.
No, it's not. The borrowing goes against the sewer department. I mean, the water department, excuse me.
The water department doesn't make any money, though.
There is no subsidy this year for this department.
Really?
Really?
I don't have the school.
Or the sewer. The only one that there's a subsidy for is the golf course.
I have to figure out what that is on the school.
Okay,
Because we don't have the fire department anymore.
thank you.
We could always count on one of those, but. Okay. So that was approved 10-4. Chevy Tahoe, excuse me. Half of a Chevy Tahoe four-wheel drive, $15,000. Is there a motion to
Motion to
approve?
approve.
David, second? Is there a second? Bruce? Bruce is seconding. All those in favor? Show of hands. 8, 9, 10, 11. All those opposed? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. 11-4. That's 15.
That's too many. I didn't vote twice.
I don't believe you. Last item, not a priority. Pickup truck, $28,000.
Motion to approve.
Steve, Bob. All those in favor, show of hands. All those opposed? 0, 14. Motion fails. Okay, Article 29, Sewer Capital, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate from available funds in the treasury, if any, or borrow a sufficient sum of money to replace and/or purchase the following items for the sewer department. So the priorities here, Chief,
Is the other half of the Tahoe,
right,
the I&I,
which was reduced from 500 to 300,
300, yep.
and the John Deere?
John Deere. Nope.
Nope.
It's not a priority. The John Deere.
Okay, so the item first, Queen Anne and Beaver Brook stations, those are the two pumps, the $90,000. John thought he could get by without doing that this year. Is there a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
John and Steve? Or, oh, Bob, sorry. Okay. All those in favor, show of hands. All those opposed? It's unanimous. 0, not fails. 0, 14 fail.
We should turn down this half.
Fall behind my own list. Okay.
Turn down this half of the Tahoe.
You're out of order, Mr. Guerin.
Again.
Again.
Chevy Tahoe, four-wheel drive,
Motion
half
to-
ton,
Motion to approve.
$15,000 coming out of the water sewer enterprise, actually. There's a motion approved from the chief. Second? Bruce? All those in favor, show of hands. All those opposed? 13 to 1, no abstentions.
But he indicated his vote before he went.
I'll record it as 12-1. Pass. Excuse me. Inflow and infiltration, which is $300,000. And again, this is, we borrow it, but we immediately get reimbursed.
It's gonna be 300,000.
Yikes.
Motion to approve.
Peter?
Second.
I don't,
300.
300,000.
300, not 500.
oh, it's starting up again.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve borrowing for $300,000. And that would be in the sewer enterprise. Let me just find that. Okay. All those in favor, show of hands. All those opposed, abstaining, passes unanimously. John Deere backhoe with access.
Accessories.
We know, somebody thought that they had to modify the access.
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Peter, second? Is David? All those in favor, show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a tie.
Steve's got his hands up. You count him?
Steve, what are you doing? Okay, then I have to vote for it.
Oh,
It's tied. Motion fails anyway. Because this is one of the things he said was a priority.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I should have mentioned that.
2,000 hours on it. 20
No, he
years.
doesn't. Stop saying that.
Doesn't need it.
This is to replace the 1987 backhoe,
1,000 hours. How many hours a year is that?
and he said he has a mini excavator, which for more precision work, and he said he needed it, so.
Well, he's got a cat backhoe. Same thing.
I think somebody, I think
It failed 8-7.
Didn't it pass 8 to 7?
All those in favor, let's vote again. All those in favor, show of hands, approve. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And who? It's 14. So I cast my vote for, so that it's approved.
Yeah.
7 and 7, I'm voting. Yep.
I like the first count.
But he said you could give rides on Sunday. Article 30. Was this ours?
Did have it, but there were other ones.
I think it was because there's a cost associated with accepting the town roads. But there's nothing in the budget for it.
I have it in your minutes, so.
We didn't,
So we did.
We didn't hear that one.
we didn't hear this one.
We didn't hear this one.
It's not Finance Committee.
Yeah, we did. Do we just, there aren't any roads to accept right now, right? I wonder if we should just refer this to town meeting?
Motion,
Oh, accepted contract funds, I'm sorry.
motion to approve.
Yep, thank you.
Second.
Second, Peter? That's right. This is standard, and I don't know, I was looking at accepting roads, it's dyslexic kicking in again. So motion and a second, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous.
Yeah, we want chapter 9 money.
Yeah, of course.
That's a good thing.
We need it.
Article 31,
Motion to
apply for
approve.
and accept federal state funding. Get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Peter, second is, who was that?
Big working.
Dave? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining, it was unanimous. 32, Community Preservation Committee Budget Report. I don't think that was that ours?
Nope.
Right.
Yeah, we heard that
Oh,
we
they
have to
did
approve the
pass out
budget.
the,
I thought we
The
heard
spreadsheet.
33. We didn't hear 32.
yeah, we did.
We did.
Did?
It's because it's their annual,
Might have
annual
been
budget.
late that night.
Motion to approve.
Pat,
Thank you
second.
very much.
Bob?
He's a sequential.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor? Okay. All those opposed or abstaining? It's unanimous. No, it was just to accept the budget as submitted.
Wait a minute.
Article 33, Community Preservation Projects, Historic Home Signage, $2,125. And that was listed as the Community Preservation Committee Fund.
Motion to approve.
Peter, Bob, all those in favor? Show of hands. Okay, it's unanimous. B, CPA funding for acquisition and rehabilitation for community housing for the elderly at 710 Turnpike Street as written in the article.
Motion to approve.
Wait a minute. The amount is $1.5 million, and that was to be borrowed or to come from the Community Preservation Community Fund. There was a motion,
Motion to
Second.
approve.
John and Peter, second. Okay, all those in favor, show of hands. All those opposed? It's unanimous. So funding for the historic, so this is part C of the 4 parts of this. The CPA funding for historic preservation of Swan's Tavern building at 710 Turnpike Street. The estimated cost is $350,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
John and Peter, John Malley and Peter. All those in favor, show of hands. It's unanimous. And item D, Pierce Street Playground rehabilitation at a cost of $585,000.
Motion to approve?
Peter? Bob? All those in favor, show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Did I get that right? All those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 11 and 3. Must have been 12 and 3. Motion passes. Article 34, Abandoned Housing Initiative, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate from available funds in the Treasury, if any, or borrow a sufficient sum of money to participate in the Massachusetts Attorney General's Abandoned Housing Initiative. And this was $100,000, and I put it as cash because it was to pretty much bullet capital to start this fund.
Motion to approve.
John and John? Okay. Show of hands, all those in favor? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. All those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Passes 10-4. Article 35, Regulation of Vacant and Abandoned Properties, to see if the town will vote to insert regulation of vacant and abandoned properties as Chapter 71 in the general bylaws,
Motion to approve?
as written.
I'm against this one. This one's no good.
Did we vote this one?
Yes, we did.
We did?
Well, we talked about it.
We talked about
I don't think it was ours to vote.
it. Not us.
No, we didn't, but we
Yeah.
talked about it. Yeah, there's too much in here, too.
We did have a hearing on it.
Okay. All right, we got a motion and a second. Yeah, the fees are in here. Yeah. Who is the motion, actually, start again, wasn't it John and John?
I made the motion.
Oh, Peter made the motion? Who seconded? Bob seconded it. Peter and Bob. Okay, show of hands. All in favor of this? All opposed? 3, 11 to 3. Passes. Unpaid bills. Okay, motion to refer to town meeting.
Motion to refer to town meeting.
John, second.
Second.
Peter? All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstaining? Looks like unanimous. Deposit to stabilization fund, Article 37. Could I have a motion to refer to town meeting?
Motion to refer to town meeting.
Second.
John and Peter? Pat?
Can I just ask a question?
Pat?
I'm just a little confused. Normally, we put the stabilization fund at the end, we see what we have left, and that's what we put in. I'm just not sure how we'll decide what goes into the stabilization fund and what goes into the building stabilization fund, if we refer them both. Will we have another meeting right before, the meeting before the meeting to decide? I'm just not sure if we refer them both, what we'll end up, how we'll
I think
decide.
there's going to be a motion to move these to be heard last after the accepting of reports, and then the monies that are available, as we do every year, town will have to make a decision. We'll make a,
Will we vote, though, at some point during town meeting as a group to see what we want to put in each? We usually don't have two, that's why I'm just
we're
confused.
going to be meeting before town meeting. Did you want to table these?
Yeah.
How do you make the choice one or the other? There's no logic to it.
Well, if you wanted my opinion,
Yes.
I would put nothing else in the stabilization fund, and I'd put any monies that we had available into the building stabilization fund.
Why?
Because the stabilization fund is funded to the capacity that we originally set out to fund it at 3 to 5% of total revenues. It's at almost $5 million now. And the building stabilization fund, with all the needs, the building needs coming up, that's why it was created.
So can I change my motion to table this to
You can,
our next meeting?
to
Our last meeting
our
before
next
town
meeting.
meeting?
How's that?
Okay.
Good, I like that.
Second.
Steve, second. All those in favor to table the meeting? Table this article to the next meeting? Okay, it's unanimous. Article 37, and I think we're going to do Article 38. Do we have a motion on
Motion to
that?
table till our next
Second.
meeting.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Did you get those, Joy? Okay. Oh, who made the motion? Steve? Oh, John? And then Steve seconded it. Okay. All those in favor to table the motion to the next meeting? Looks like it's unanimous. I can't tell. Bruce, exert yourself there? Okay, thanks. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? So it's unanimous. Article 39, rescind unissued borrowing authorizations.
We have the chart,
Mr. Rowe?
2 from Bill.
Shouldn't we have a list of these?
We do.
We do?
We have 2 from Bill.
Actually, it's 3.
Actually, I have a charted, one was added for the CPA, the facade at the pump station. Off the top of my head, I don't know, I can look it up. It was 60, I think it was 95,000 to be rescinded.
Should we table this one to that meeting too? So we have it all in front of us?
Well, I think we got it here.
I think some people wanted to see the actual chart. Yes, I don't know.
Huh?
I think some people actually want to see it or something, the list.
Well, you don't believe me?
No, not me. I believe you. I'm just,
There's only 3 items to rescind.
No, I missed it too, John. I don't have the follow-up one. Okay.
Be out of here early.
Discussion. That last one, yeah, that should have a discussion on it.
Oh, my app won't open it. What do you got, Bill?
Okay, it's Article 51 of the annual town meeting, May 2012. Repair the facade at the pump station number 1. And the authorization was 165,000. We borrowed 70,000. We want to rescind 95,000.
So I'm sorry, what were the 3 numbers again, Bill?
We authorized 165,000.
Yep.
We borrowed 70,000. We want to rescind 95,000.
Okay.
What's the total?
Voting, this is to rescind 95,000. What were the other 2, Bill?
Article 36 of May 2009, the comprehensive facility study for the school department. We authorized 200,000, and there was a remaining authorization of 55,000 to be rescinded. And then the second one was the Article 7, special town meeting of September 2009. Public Works, the Bay Road culvert. We'd authorized 200,000, and there was a $50,000 authorization remaining. So we want to rescind the 50,000.
Okay, so you're looking to rescind 95,000, 55,000, and 50,000.
Right.
Okay. Do you think you're going to have more before town meeting,
I don't
Bill?
think so, no.
That's it?
I think so.
Can I have a motion?
motion approved.
John?
Second.
Peter? All those in favor, say, show of hands. It's unanimous. Article 40. That's not ours.
We
Did we
did
hear
hear
it?
that. We did. I think fees again.
I don't think so.
Heard it, but it shouldn't be all.
I don't think so.
Oh, no, right?
Unless I was smoking something when I took my notes.
It's entirely possible. Okay, well, there's a $300 fee in here, so might as well vote on it. Is there a motion?
Motion to, go ahead.
Second.
Wait a minute. Bob, motion to approve? Peter, second? All those in favor, show of hands. All those not approving? All those abstaining? Could be a certain stigma to voting no on this one. Okay, so I got 13 and 1. Still approved.
Page 24.
Club licenses.
41 is on page 24.
Missed one.
We doing Article 41? The alcoholic
Yep.
beverages?
Amend Town Code, Chapter 209, alcoholic beverages.
Oh, pages are out. It's fucking two. Huh? God damn it.
Yes, we did.
Were there fees associated in here?
This is the one a lot of us wanted to know what the definition of indecent or immoral entertainment was, just to refresh your memories.
Yeah, okay. All right, so who's the motion? Is there a motion? Mr. Delinsky, and second was? Who?
Scott.
Scott, okay, thanks. All those in favor, show of hands. It's unanimous. Article 42, medical marijuana.
We did not hear that one.
Yeah, good. It's another one gone with the wind. Article 43,
Nope.
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 44, nope.
Nope.
I can feel it, we're getting to the close. Article 46, yes.
Yes.
Central Business District alcohol licenses. To see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to file a home rule petition with the General Court for special legislation to expand the town's quota for liquor licenses as set forth in the proposed petition below, provided, however, that the General Court may make clerical and editorial changes of form only to the bill unless the Board of Selectmen approves amendments to the bill prior to enactment by the General Court, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to approve amendments which shall be within the public purposes of the petition. And the petition is as written.
Motion to approve?
Pat, second?
Second.
John? All those in favor, show of hands. Okay, it looks like it's unanimous. Jim? Oh, sorry. 13. All those opposed?
Wait.
All those opposed, 2? Okay, so we've got 12 and 2. Passes. Stretch Energy Code.
Motion to approve.
Nope.
Wait a minute, we didn't hear that one.
No money in it.
Right,
No money in it.
Here
No
it
money
is.
in it.
Here it
right.
is.
Just a code.
Article 48, zoning.
No.
Nope.
No money.
49, nobody.
Article 49 is the housing bylaw, the elderly housing bylaw, no? Zoning to convert non-residential to elderly. I don't think we heard that one either. 51,
No.
no. Allow multifamily senior housing use, no.
57, I think.
57, yeah, because we did 52, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Those are the schools. 57. CPC Historic Preservation Grant for the State Theater. To see if the town will vote to approve, subject to the recommendation of the Community Preservation Committee, by way of $1 for dollar matching grant, the use of available allotted community preservation, historic preservation funds and/or from the Community Preservation Fund undesignated fund balance for the purpose of procuring architectural, engineering, and construction services for the rehabilitation of the exterior and interior of former State Theater, Building 807 Washington Street, or take any other action relative thereto, and the amount was $500,000.
Motion to approve.
Can I?
Peter?
I just had a question. Can we don't have the business plan still. Can we table it until maybe he'll get it to us by then? We never got he was going to get us a business plan. No, but the business plan was what we were going to
I
get.
think the only thing we asked for was the lease.
He was definitely
which we got.
I think this community preservation said that they only approved it subject to a business plan, actually.
Okay, go ahead and make a motion, John.
I want to make a motion to table until we get a business plan.
To our next meeting, or, well, until
Our
there's a
next
business
meeting,
plan
table
available.
until a business plan is available, exactly. And if, or until our next
And
meeting.
if there's none available, then refer to town meeting?
That's, yeah.
Is that the motion?
He's already
What's
had a
available?
motion on the floor.
He's asking for a business plan, and we were told that we'd get one.
All right, so we didn't get it, so let's vote on what we got.
Well, there's a motion to table it.
Well, he made a motion first to pass it.
Okay. There's a motion, and is there a second on that to pass it? No, to pass the $500,000. Peter's saying he made a motion to approve the $500,000. Is there a second to that motion?
Right here.
I'll second.
John? All those in favor of the $500,000 for the CPA funds for the State Theater? 2. All those opposed? 12. All right,
Can I
so
make a
that
new
failed.
motion? Can I make a new motion then to table it until we get the business plan? Or to our next meeting, I guess? Because I guess at that point we can decide whether we're going to get one before we have to publish this book. So I guess I'm making a motion to table till our next meeting.
Motion to table until our next meeting. Is there a second?
Question.
Roberta?
I have a question.
Yes.
Not only, you can read it online,
We can make a new motion.
but the articles of organization for this particular Friends of the State Theater, we didn't request that, but I think it would be of importance to read, to go to the Secretary of State's office under corporations and read the articles of organization. If we want to request those, I don't know, it's kind of late to do that, but I think at when that presentation came forward, those articles of organization obviously should have been here to be able to know what the offices and who the offices are and what powers they have. That's very, very important to know.
John, do you want to amend your motion? And I would not make it contingent upon having that, but the business plan is what we asked for, and that's what they
So I'm
committed
amending
to.
my motion to table, well, can we, Scott's questioning whether we can do another motion at this point.
Sure.
Because we already
First one
tabled.
failed.
So my motion is to table this till our next meeting, subject to getting a business plan, and if possible, articles of incorporation, but not
Second.
required.
No.
I want to,
Why are you raising your hand?
well, there's a discussion going on now.
You got more discussion? Go ahead.
Yes.
Is it-
Well, do we want the town to be part of this three-way,
It's just a motion to
Business
table.
venture?
Right? It's just a motion to table.
Just a motion to table.
And is there a second, I guess?
First
That's-
one to
that's what we're
approve
gonna do.
failed.
So is there a motion, second?
Okay.
There we go.
John and John. The motion is to table until our next meeting when, if we have a business plan and
if possible, not
The
required.
Articles of Organization available for review and vote. Okay? All those in favor of tabling to the next meeting, hands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Roberta? 10. All those opposed to tabling? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 10, 4.
Fantastic.
The motion to table passes. Yes, ma'am.
I thought this was your last meeting.
No, we
Just go to the printer.
I understand that, but we may have another meeting before then because we may have collective bargaining and other items.
So it's in the future, but you're not sure what day.
Right.
Thank you.
Article 58, massage therapist?
No.
No,
Nope, no money,
as much as you wanted to hear that one.
no money.
Money, no money, no money.
No, I mean,
And 59 is no, and 60.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Wait a minute.
too late, motion made, second.
Just relax. Okay, so
No. No, absolutely not.
all right, we will give Mr. Stagnoni a jiggle tomorrow to see if he's got his information. And if he does, that's great. Otherwise, we'll move ahead with taking a look at getting our next meeting scheduled for anything that was tabled for tonight. But it will have to come pretty quickly. Any other questions, comments, Roberta? Wait,
No, I have a question.
wait.
Well, the thing is that to read the documents, it takes time to read those documents and to understand them. So do you mean that we were going to read, if he is able to comply and supply those, we're going to come into a meeting and have those documents in front of us and read all that legalese?
No,
And-
I would think that we'd have them before that meeting, and if we don't think we have enough time or information available to us, then we'll take a vote, and if people don't think they can vote for it and support it, then they won't.
Okay, because I think that we need to really study those articles of organization.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn, I'll motion.
Steve and Scott. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? John? What did we say to refer?